Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever wondered why some people rise above financial struggles while others remain trapped? What if the difference isn't money itself, but the way they think about it? And could a simple shift in philosophy open doors you never imagined were possible? Script. I'm not here to tell you that money is everything. It's not. But financial abundance is absolutely worthy of your attention. Not for greed's sake, but for the freedom it provides, the options it creates, and the good it can do. Money is simply a tool, one of the most powerful tools in modern society. And like any tool, what matters most is how you use it. Today, I want to share the habits, the disciplines, and the mindsets of the wealthy. Not so you can imitate them blindly, but so you can understand the principles that guide them. Principles are what truly change everything. The philosophy of wealth creation is not built on luck. It's built on thought. It's about the way you view the world, the way you approach problems, and the way you see opportunities. The poor say, "I can't afford it." The rich ask, "How can I afford it?" Do you see the difference? One shuts the door, the other opens it. One accepts defeat, the other sparks the mind to search for solutions and refuses to accept limitations as permanent. This is where it all begins, with philosophy. The wealthy cultivate a mindset that seeks opportunity, believes in possibility, and takes responsibility. It doesn't happen overnight. It's developed, nurtured, and strengthened over time through consistent habits. Philosophy shapes behavior, and behavior produces results. As simple and as profound as that. Two people can face the same economic downturn. One sees only disaster. The other sees opportunity in disguise. Which one do you think comes out stronger when the market recovers? The wealthy aren't immune to challenges, but their philosophy equips them to navigate those challenges differently. I remember a young man who once came to me, frustrated by his circumstances. "Mr. Rohn," he said, "you don't understand how bad things are in my industry right now." I asked him, "Are things bad for everyone in your industry, or just for you?" That single question shifted his entire perspective. He soon realized that even within the same industry, facing the same conditions, some people were thriving while others were barely surviving. The difference wasn't the wind. It was the set of the sail, the discipline of financial education. Now, let's talk about one of the most important habits of the wealthy. They educate themselves about money, continuously and deliberately. Most people spend more time planning their next vacation than planning their financial future. The wealthy do the opposite. They invest their time in understanding how money works. They study investments, learn tax strategies, and commit to becoming lifelong students of wealth creation. Financial ignorance is costly. Financial education is profitable. It really is that simple. Imagine improving your financial intelligence by just 10%. How much could that increase your net worth in the next decade? 20%? 50? Even more? The return on financial education is extraordinary. And here's the truth. This knowledge is available to everyone. Books, seminars, courses, mentors. The information is out there for anyone willing to seek it. The wealthy aren't rich because they've unlocked secret knowledge. They're rich because they apply the knowledge available to all of us. I often remind people, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. The wealthy understand this. They don't expect the road to be smooth. They expect themselves to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. And financial education is the foundation of that growth. A crucial part of growth is discipline. And one of the most practical habits of the wealthy is also the simplest, saving money consistently. The philosophy is straightforward. Pay yourself first. Before the landlord, before the electric company, before anyone else, take a portion of every dollar you earn and save it. Most people do the opposite. They spend first and try to save what's left, but rarely is there anything left. The wealthy save first and spend what remains. This isn't about denying life's pleasures. It's about delayed gratification, planting seeds today that grow into trees tomorrow. It's about building a reservoir of capital ready to be used when opportunities appear. Consider the powerful 70-30 rule. Take your income and immediately set aside 30% to 10% for giving, 10% for investments, and 10% for savings. Live on the remaining 70%. You might think, I can't live on 70% of my income. I need every penny just to get by. But here's the truth. If you can't live on 70%, you won't manage on 100% either. You'll always be in debt, always struggling, always one emergency away from disaster. Saving isn't just about money. It's about discipline, control, and creating options for your future. And here's the remarkable part. This single habit, practiced consistently, can build wealth even with an average income. Compound interest working on your savings over decades creates substantial results. That's the miracle of consistency. Now, let's turn to another critical habit of the wealthy, developing multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has 7 different sources. They don't depend on just a paycheck. They build systems, investments, and assets that generate money whether they're working or not. This doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design because they make it a priority. Think about it. If you rely on only one source of income and it disappears, you're in serious trouble. But if you have 7 and one fails, you still have 6. That's real security, peace of mind, and freedom. So how do you build multiple streams of income? It begins with financial education. You study the vehicles of wealth creation, real estate, stocks, bonds, business ownership, intellectual property, and more. You start small with whatever capital you have, then learn, grow, and reinvest. I'm reminded of a young couple who began with just a modest savings. They purchased one rental property, managed it wisely, saved the profits, and bought another, then another. 20 years later, they owned dozens of properties generating steady passive income. They didn't begin wealthy. They became wealthy through consistent application of this principle. The key is to start. Most people never do. They dream of financial freedom, but never take the first step. The wealthy take that step, then another, and another. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you must start to be great. Now, let's look at another surprising habit of the wealthy, mindful spending. Contrary to the popular image of extravagance, the truly wealthy are often cautious with their money. They live below their means, drive practical cars, and choose modest homes. Doesn't that contradict what most people believe about the rich? Yet study after study proves it true. The wealthy watch their expenses carefully. Why? Because they know the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. The poor and middle class often confuse the two. They buy cars that lose value, electronics that quickly become obsolete, or luxuries that drain resources. The wealthy focus on assets, things that appreciate, generate income, and grow over time. This doesn't mean living like a miser. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But there's a big difference between spending thoughtfully on what adds true value and spending mindlessly on what society tells you to desire. The wealthy ask sharper questions about every purchase. Does this align with my values? Does it move me closer to my goals? Is this the best use of my resources? I often remind people, don't spend major time on minor things, and don't spend major money on minor things either. Mindful spending creates margin in your financial life. And margin is what gives you options, flexibility, and ultimately freedom. Now let's turn to another critical habit of the wealthy, continuous learning. They are lifelong learners, always seeking to expand their knowledge, skills, and understanding. The wealthy invest in themselves. They read books, attend seminars, hire coaches, and join masterminds. They know their most valuable asset isn't what's in the bank, it's what's in their mind. As I often say, formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. The wealthy live by this principle. They don't stop learning when school ends. In fact, that's when their real education begins. Consider this. The average American reads less than 1 book a year, while the average CEO reads 4 to 5 books a month. Is that a coincidence? Hardly. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It strengthens, expands, and develops. In today's knowledge economy, a developed mind is a priceless asset. But it's not just about reading. It's about applying what you learn. The wealthy don't simply consume information. They implement it, test it, and refine it. And they don't limit themselves to business or finance. They study psychology, communication, history, and science. This broad base of knowledge helps them see connections others miss and understand dynamics others overlook. In my decades of working with successful people, I've noticed something remarkable. The more successful they become, the more they realize how much they don't know. That humility, That awareness of their own limitations fuels their drive to keep learning and growing. So ask yourself, what are you learning right now? How are you investing in your mind? What books are you reading? What courses are you taking? And what mentors are you seeking? Your income rarely surpasses your personal development. If you want your income to grow, you must grow first. Now let's look at one of the most influential habits of all, the power of association. The wealthy are intentional about who they spend time with. Your peer group shapes your thinking, your beliefs, your expectations, and your behavior. As the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. The wealthy understand this. They surround themselves with people who elevate, challenge, and inspire them. They join masterminds, industry groups, and communities where ambition and values are shared. Just as importantly, they distance themselves from negative influences that hold them back. The wealthy limit their time with people who drain energy, reinforce limiting beliefs, or discourage ambition. This isn't about arrogance. It's about recognizing a simple truth. We become like those we surround ourselves with. Want to be healthy? Spend time with healthy people. Want to be positive? Be with positive people. And if you want to be wealthy, spend time with people building wealth. I recall a young entrepreneur struggling in his business. When I asked about his peer group, he admitted most of his friends were negative about business, skeptical of success, and content with mediocrity. No wonder he struggled to stay motivated. He was fighting the current of his own social circle. But once he changed his associations and began surrounding himself with ambitious, growth-minded entrepreneurs, everything shifted. His thinking expanded, his belief grew stronger, and his actions aligned with his goals. Who you spend time with is who you become. Choose wisely. Now, let's look at another fundamental habit of the wealthy, goal setting. They set clear, specific, written goals and review them regularly. Most people have vague wishes. The wealthy create precise targets. While most occasionally think about what they want, the wealthy focus systematically. Writing down goals makes them real. It transforms ideas into concrete intentions, signaling to the mind, this matters. Their goals go beyond money. They include health, relationships, personal growth, and contribution. But when it comes to finances, they are especially disciplined. They know exactly where they want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, even 20. They break long-term visions into quarterly targets, monthly milestones, weekly objectives, and daily actions. This systematic approach creates clarity, and clarity is power. Clarity creates power. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, you can direct your time, energy, and resources with laser-like focus. I often remind people, don't just set goals, set the right goals. Choose goals that align with your values, that excite you, and that push you to grow beyond who you are today. Remember, the purpose of a goal isn't just to achieve something, it's to become something. In pursuing financial goals, you build discipline, resourcefulness, resilience, and other qualities that serve every area of life. Now let's examine another crucial habit of the wealthy, time management. Time is our most precious resource. Everyone gets the same 24 hours a day, no more, no less. The wealthy understand this. They guard their time, allocate it deliberately, and invest it wisely. One powerful question to ask yourself is, where is this activity taking me? Is it moving me closer to my goals or pulling me away? Is it shaping me into who I want to become or distracting me from it? The wealthy ask these questions constantly. They judge activities not only by whether they're pleasant or easy, but by whether they're productive and aligned with their purpose. This doesn't mean they never relax. Of course, they enjoy leisure, but even that is intentional, designed to recharge, inspire, or strengthen valuable connections. I've noticed many successful people apply what I call the 80-20 principle of time management. They identify the 20% of activities that produce 80% of the results and give those activities the greatest focus. For an entrepreneur, that might be product development and customer acquisition. For an investor, research and analysis. For a professional, skill development and relationship building. Whatever your path, certain high-value activities drive most of your progress. Identify them. Prioritize them. Protect your time for them. Remember, we don't truly manage time. We manage ourselves within time. Managing yourself effectively within the time you have is one of the clearest marks of financial success. Now let's move to another fundamental habit of the wealthy, delayed gratification. They are willing to sacrifice in the short term for rewards in the long term. This runs against cultural conditioning, doesn't it? We live in a world that urges us to buy now, enjoy now, and live only for today. There is wisdom in appreciating the present moment, but the wealthy balance that with deep respect for the future. They know the choices made today shape tomorrow, next year, and even the next decade. So, they live below their means now to live beyond their means later. They do what others won't today, so they can do what others can't tomorrow. I often compare it to planting and harvesting. Most people want to harvest before they've planted, seeking results without the work. The wealthy embrace the seasons of wealth creation, a time to plant, a time to tend, a time to wait, and finally a time to harvest. They don't expect instant results. They know that the most valuable things, including financial abundance, take time to mature. This patience, this ability to delay gratification, sets them apart. It allows them to make decisions based not on immediate pleasure, but on long-term benefit. What's fascinating is that research shows delayed gratification is one of the strongest predictors of financial success, more than IQ, talent, background, or even connections. The good news? It's a habit you can build. Every time you choose the future over the present, when you save instead of spend, when you invest instead of consume, you strengthen this vital muscle. Now let's explore another powerful habit of the wealthy, risk management. Here's a habit that might surprise you. The wealthy are careful about managing risk. They're not reckless gamblers. They're calculated risk takers. Many people believe building wealth requires enormous risks, but that's rarely true. Sustainable wealth is usually built through careful assessment, thorough due diligence, and prudent risk management. The wealthy don't avoid risk altogether. That's impossible. Instead, they work to understand it, measure it when possible, reduce it where they can, and make sure the potential reward outweighs what's at stake. They diversify, spreading investments across asset classes, industries, and even geographies. They build redundancies and backup plans. Think of it this way. The wealthy play to win, but they also play not to lose. They focus on both offense, making money, and defense, protecting it. This balance allows them to act boldly when opportunities appear because their systems shield them from catastrophic loss. I often tell people, take risks, but take the right risks. Choose risks you understand, where you have knowledge or an edge, and where the potential upside clearly outweighs the downside. Most importantly, never risk what you can't afford to lose. The wealthy build their foundation first, emergency savings, insurance, and stable investments, before moving on to more speculative opportunities. This thoughtful approach to risk management is what allows wealth to compound. It prevents temporary setbacks from turning into permanent failures. Now let's turn to perhaps the most fundamental habit of all, the power of value creation. The wealthy focus on creating value for others. This is the secret hiding in plain sight. Real wealth comes from providing something meaningful to people. The more value you create, the more wealth you can build. The market rewards problem solving, innovation, and anything that makes life easier, healthier, or more enjoyable. Look at any self-made wealthy person, and you'll find someone who mastered this principle. Wealth often comes down to this: solving problems or fulfilling desires for a significant number of people. That's the essence of entrepreneurship, of value investing, of every legitimate path to wealth. Your financial reward is usually proportional to how many people you serve, how well you serve them, and how hard it would be to replace you. The wealthy understand this equation. They continually ask, how can I serve more people? How can I serve them better? How can I make myself more valuable and harder to replace? This focus on contribution, rather than acquisition, paradoxically leads to greater wealth. When you prioritize creating value, you make smarter business decisions, build stronger relationships, deepen your expertise, and attract more opportunities. I often remind people, don't ask what the market can give you. Ask what you can give the market. Flip that question, and everything changes. The best part? This approach ties wealth creation to meaning and purpose. When your goals are linked to serving others, solving real problems, and making a positive difference, you tap into a source of motivation far more powerful than money alone. Now let's discuss a habit that separates achievers from dreamers: accountability. The wealthy hold themselves responsible for results. They don't blame circumstances, make excuses, or point fingers. They take ownership of their financial lives fully, and without reservation. This doesn't mean they believe they control everything. They know external events, economic shifts, technology changes, competitive dynamics can all influence outcomes. But they focus relentlessly on what they can control: their actions, their decisions, and their responses to those events. I often tell people, don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for fewer challenges, wish for more wisdom. The wealthy embody this philosophy. When setbacks come, and they always do, they don't ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can I do about it? When the wealthy face setbacks, they ask, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I use this to become stronger and more capable? This habit of taking full responsibility is empowering. It puts you in the driver's seat of your financial life. It transforms you from victim to creator, from passenger to pilot. And it's contagious. When you lead with responsibility, others around you often follow. Team members, business partners, even family begin to mirror the example you set. I've seen organizations led by accountable people become more innovative, adaptable, and resilient. They solve problems quickly because they don't waste time on blame. Their focus is entirely on solutions. In your own financial journey, this habit can be transformative. The moment you stop blaming and start owning your choices, you unlock creativity, resourcefulness, and determination you may not have realized were within you. Now let's turn to what may be the most counterintuitive habit of the wealthy: giving. The truly wealthy give generously to causes, communities, and individuals beyond themselves. While the stereotype of the rich as selfish and greedy persists, my decades of experience tell a different story. The most fulfilled, most respected, and often most financially successful people are also the most generous. They understand a profound truth. Giving isn't only a moral duty, it's a catalyst for receiving. When you give, whether it's money, time, knowledge, or support, you create connections, build goodwill, and position yourself as someone who adds value to the world. And there's something even deeper. Giving shapes your self-concept. When you see yourself as someone who has enough to share, you reinforce an abundance mindset. You remind yourself, consciously or not, I have more than enough. That mindset then influences countless decisions, often leading to greater prosperity. I often recommend systematic giving, setting aside a specific percentage of income dedicated to generosity. Start with whatever you can, even if it's just 1%, and increase as your income grows. Consistent giving doesn't just benefit others, it benefits you. It strengthens gratitude, builds perspective, and connects you to something greater than yourself. And here's what's fascinating. Studies show that giving activates the same reward centers in the brain as receiving. It literally feels good to give. When you make it a habit, you're not sacrificing happiness for virtue. You're achieving both at the same time. As we move toward closing, I want to stress something crucial. These habits don't stand alone. They work together, reinforce each other, and multiply their effects. Financial education makes you a better investor. Saving builds the capital you need. Multiple streams of income accelerate growth. Mindful spending creates margin for opportunity. Continuous learning expands your ability to create value. Strong associations support your mindset. Clear goals give you focus. Time management ensures consistent action. Delayed gratification strengthens long-term thinking. Risk management protects your progress. Value creation drives sustainable growth. Accountability keeps you disciplined. And giving keeps you grounded. Together, these habits form a system for building wealth. And systems, my friends, are what produce reliable results. From decades of studying success, I've observed that extraordinary outcomes don't come from extraordinary efforts. They come from ordinary efforts, applied consistently over time. The wealthy aren't doing things you can't do. They're doing things you don't do consistently, systematically, as a matter of habit. And that's the good news. Habits can be developed. Systems can be built. Disciplines can be cultivated. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, but start. Maybe it's saving 10% of your income, reading for 30 minutes a day, or writing down your goals each week. As one habit takes root, add another. Step by step, habit by habit, small changes compound into remarkable transformation. Just as money grows through compound interest, character grows through compound habits. Before we part, let me leave you with one final thought. Wealth, when properly understood, is not the ultimate goal. It is a means to an end. That end is freedom and contribution. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, the freedom to pursue what matters most, and the freedom to help others in ways that align with your values and vision. The habits we've explored aren't just about accumulating money. They're about creating a life filled with meaning, purpose, and impact. They're about becoming the kind of person who can truly make a difference. I encourage you to embrace these habits not just for what they will help you gain, but for who they will help you become. In the end, the greatest wealth isn't in your bank account, it's in your character. The path to wealth is clear. It is marked by habits, disciplines, and ways of thinking that have been proven for generations. The question isn't whether these principles work. The question is whether you will work the principles. I believe you will. I believe you have what it takes to build the financial future you desire. Thank you for your time and attention today. May your journey to wealth be rewarding in every sense of the word. Wishing you health, happiness, and success. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.